Well, hello and a very good morning. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. Joining me here in the studio is our very own ardent newspaper reader, Varghese P. Abraham. And what we're essentially up to every day early in the morning is to take a look at the overnight developments, number one. Take a look at what are the top headlines suggesting English newspapers, Hindi newspapers. Varghese, of course, helps us out with some Malayalam news as well, and a focus on South India. But that's not all. We'll also take a look at what viral videos are doing the rounds on the Reels, on Instagram, what's trending on Twitter, now called, of course, X. We, of course, have jotted down a list of news that we think you should, of course, know. But if there's something that you think we've missed out on, then you can get down in the comment sections and help us understand and let us know what is it that you'd want us to do. We try our best to bring you a very balanced perspective and a debate, discussion, whatever deems fit at that particular topic. We of course have the Manipur police filing the case against the Assam Rifles, which is not something that is new. Ever since the violent clash broke out, we know that the police and the army
going on between
these
two forces.
Police and the army can't seem to see each other eye to eye. On the other hand, the India-NDA bloc, yesterday a lot of people said that Rahul Gandhi has the right opportunity to speak, but then he didn't. A lot of people saying that he knew that the BJP had mounted up the right hand of attack on him. It was actually strategic of him to not speak. So both of those things, either way, it is going to be day 2 showdown today, India versus NDA on Manipur, even as we're talking about the no trust vote. It's going to be day 4 of the hearing on Article 370. Yesterday, there were certain comparisons drawn to the Brexit referendum where the CGI, and I was listening to it live, and he said, that was something that was totally, different. You can't impose something like that on India. Whereas Kapil Sibal kept on saying that, what happened, Article 370 is a political act, but the abrogation, it seems, is an executive act. And can an executive act overpower a political act or decimate the will of the people? That's the bigger question. Day 4, that's going to come today. You can, of course, continue to tune in to News 9 Live for the live coverage of, right from courtroom number 1, where the Constitution bench is going to be held and constituted. In Haryana, Varghese, importantly, I mean, you've been speaking to a lot of DGPs of Uttar Pradesh. The Deputy Chief Minister has come out and he's admitted lapses in NU.
He has admitted lapses on NU, and also there are, a worrying trend with almost 50 panchayats actually barring Muslim traders, and they have already issued letters, and then there is 2 people have been booked for the Mahapanchayat that was held, which again, the premise of it was to bar Muslim
which was
traders.
held when there were prohibitory
there was a prohibitory orders
that
in
were
place.
imposed.
It was a huge gathering
And
of
clear
people.
calls. Why is this not being put into the basket of hate speech, and why is it taking so long? I mean, haven't the Haryana government learned their lesson of already waking up from their deep slumber a little too late?
They are in a catch 22 kind of a situation where they cannot openly speak about how to control the hate speeches. But there is, of course, there are 2 people have been booked for organizing it. Let's see how the things would in fact move forward.
Right, on the top page also it says no question of Brexit-like J&K referendum, but we'll also talk about Chandrayaan.
Yes, it's coming closer to the moon.
Important lunar orbit maneuver is expected to take place between 1 and 2 p.m. today. So fingers crossed for that also. And I was listening to what the ISRO chief said. He hasn't been speaking to the media as much about Chandrayaan, but he did give PTI a bite, and in that particular reaction he says that even in Chandrayaan-2, it was only the last 100 kilometers that was basically a problem. So until we reach that 100-kilometer point, it's all good.
It's all
but
good,
you still never know. Also, we're going to talk about Hemant Soren. Hemant Soren, the
ED has in fact called him in a
scanner on
case, yeah.
Hemant Soren. It just keeps on coming. It's like a recurrent issue. Every 6 months, you'll see, the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha under the ED lens. We'll talk about that. The Supreme Court has placed its doubts over its own order on the release of the Bilkis convicts. That is something
that order was asking the Gujarat
convicts don't deserve remission. Bilkis to Supreme Court. Right here on the front page.
The way the Supreme Court is involved in this case is that it had asked the Gujarat court to expedite the process of early release that was put forward by the convicts, and then now the statement coming in that was it a right thing to ask the court to expedite that process because it was lying with that court for a long time. Yeah.
And you know, another you know, CEO, a younger one in fact, 51 years old, of Pepper Fry. It's the furniture company, I believe. It has all its inventory online, most of it. He's died of a cardiac arrest. You know, again tells us.
And also director Siddiq passed away because of cardiac problems as well. A very hit director in Malayalam film industry.
Malayalam
a
film industry.
And a lot of those films that he made has been copied into, you know, Hindi as well.
Well, let's not even begin how much Bollywood copies from you know, other woods. But after Tomato Varghese, it seems like onions are finally going to make us shed tears now. Because the prices of onions after tomatoes.
Kabir, last time I bought tomatoes for around 200 rupees a kg, and you're telling me that onions are going to, and without tomato and onions, how on earth are we going to prepare an Indian dish?
I don't remember seeing the color red in my home vegetables and dishes that are cooked at home.
I mean, it's technically rationed in every house now. Yeah.
Precisely. Let's shift our focus. Let's begin today's page 1 with, of course, our focus on Manipur. So, the Assam Rifles, they've been pushed back from certain areas as well, right?
They have been pushed back, and
police has,
there has been a huge complaint also, in fact, on it. And Manipur police have filed a case against Assam Rifles men for trying to obstruct their search operation duties, what they have written in that FIR. Assam Rifles personnel were replaced with civil police and CRPF at checkposts in morning between Vishnupur and Gyanvapi also. The Manipur police have registered a first information report against Assam Rifles personnel for allegedly stopping them from pursuing armed miscreants involved in the killing of three men in Kwatka in Vishnupur district.
The Manipur police basically says this Assam Rifles aided you know, terrorists.
In fact, this FIR copy is with the newspaper, and it was filed on August 5th, hours after the clip of standoff between Manipur police and Assam Rifle personnel surfaced on social media. Now, this is worrying, Kabir, that you have two different kind of, you know, one is the police, of course, and the other, the paramilitary forces, are actually at loggerheads with each other, and in a place which is so restive as of now. And therefore, this big question is there whether there is proper coordination happening between the various law enforcement agencies and the paramilitary troops and, you know, the troops from the official army that are there, because the issue seems to be that there is a huge coordination issue when we are looking at this aspect of trying to bring some kind of semblance of order in Manipur. And here we can see that over here, as you know, the Manipur police claim that they were actually in pursuit of some miscreants who had actually carried out with a heinous crime, and then it is being alleged that the Assam Rifles tried to shield them. So it just shows that there is no coordination between the various forces on the ground.
But hasn't that been set in stone already by various you know, apex institutions, including the Supreme Court, that, you know, it's complete and utter failure of law and order? You've got various party members that have said that, you know, it's utter failure of law and order. But that's not all that's happening. Today in, you know, Manipur, Kuki bodies have backed the Naga rallies in Manipur. Meanwhile, government has upped security. Rallies planned by the United Naga Council in 4 districts headquarters of Manipur on Wednesday elicited support from the apex organization of the state's Kuki community, marking a conciliatory gesture from one side of the tribal divide that goes back several decades. Now, Kuki NP Manipur said on Tuesday that it fully endorses United Naga Council's proposed rallies in the headquarters of Chandel, Tamenglong, Senpati and Ukhrul to press for an early culmination of the Naga peace process involving insurgent groups like the NSCM.
So that is also quite interesting, because, you know, the Nagas are another huge ethnic group within Manipur.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are the third leg of that composite kind of a system that of society that you have over there. Also, Kabir, it is being said that key tribal body met with IB chief in Delhi. Representatives of the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum, ITLF, a key tribal body in Manipur, on Tuesday met Intelligence Bureau IB Director Tapan Deka in Delhi amid fresh tensions.
Is that because the Home Minister was busy in the Parliament?
It looks like that. A 4-member ITL team was also scheduled to meet the Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday evening, but the meeting was postponed to Wednesday morning. That's today we are going to find on Wednesday morning. We'll probably see
the ITLF leaders.
Yeah, the ITLF leaders. You know, they were supposed to meet
what happened
on Monday.
What happened in the meet with the IB leader?
Well, what we understand is that the ITLF spokesman Ginsa Walsung refused to divulge any details about the talks with the IB chief and some other officials, saying he would share information only after meeting with the Home Minister. And so it looks like it's a tight-lipped meeting, and it's something that you know, is being in wraps as to what is the kind of information that was in fact shared. The Ministry of Home Affairs on Saturday invited ITLF, an umbrella group of Kuki organization, to Chandpur, to talks fresh on the violence that broke out in Manipur. And of course, I can see that ad.
Varghese, it's not just an ad. I'm saying today is the 9th of August, and ladies and gentlemen, today is World Tribal Day. We're talking about protecting the rights of tribes, of, you know, our own tribes in India, tribesmen, tribal rituals, and one of them, the tribal cultures, the tribal way of life. For many, you know, some of the first inhabitants of, you know, land, it is World Tribal Day, and rooted in sustainability, tribal prosperity. Chhattisgarh leads in tribal empowerment. Hemant Soren has also put out an ad. You know, if the camera person could just you know, zoom in on this. It is World Tribal Day. It's got the Prime Minister's photograph also. Oh, I beg your pardon. That's not the Prime Minister. That's actually a Chhattisgarh Chief Minister, Bhupesh Baghel. So it's World Tribal Day, essentially. That's the idea. And everybody's put out their own, you know, little thing. Yesterday, the Meghalaya Chief Minister, Conrad Sangma, also called upon the Prime Minister. But you were talking about the ITLF, you know, leaders.
Yeah, the ITLF meeting, but also the Methi groups have urged the Prime Minister to implement NRC. That is the COCOMI, remember, a prominent conglomerate of Methi civil society organizations. They have urged the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to implement the National Register of Citizens in the northeastern state to identify illegal immigrants. The group has also strongly opposed the demand for a separate administration by a section of the state legislators and others, and urged the union government not to pay heed to it. The memorandum was to the Prime Minister on Monday came as the northeastern state continued to remain engulfed in ethnic violence since May 3rd. So, you know, remember we were in fact asking that question. One of the Kuki MPs had said that, can you define who are the immigrants in this? And now they are saying that we have implemented NRC so that you can, you know, identify the so-called immigrants. But the fact remains is that one question that we should be asking is that if the Manipur Methis are claiming that there are immigrants coming in from the porous border from across Myanmar because of the close tribal connections that they have from the Chin state as such, then are you telling me that the border security forces and the army were in fact not looking into this infiltration as such, that so many of them have in fact walked into Manipur and they have in fact created the trouble as it's being claimed? So they have in fact pushing in for an NRC completely. But how can you implement NRC where there's been so much of violence? How would you prove your citizenship? Many houses have been burnt. It's not only, it's going to affect not only you know, the Kukis, but it'll affect the Methis as well. There's so much of documentation that has been destroyed in this as well. So how do they plan to in fact ask for NRC to be implemented? How would you in fact?
It's actually a very pertinent point, you know, to be honest. Bishnupur police have said that Assam Rifles obstruct paths by parking vehicles across the road. On the other hand, Assam Rifles, they let Kuki militants flee. This being reported by the Indian Express. What does it show about what's happening on the ground?
Well, it shows the confusion still goes.
Context, in the larger context.
I mean, it still goes after
that
May
means peace process. We're so far away from the peace process.
We see, Kabir, we've been asking.
You've got guerrilla warfare. You have sophisticated weapons.
You have guerrilla warfare. There's so much of armories that have been looted. Guns are in circulation, and there is what I would call as non-cooperation between various forces within Manipur who are supposed to bring in peace and, you know, semblance of order and law and order in that state. It's a complete mess that we are looking at. And how can we ask for peace to take place when this mess is first of all not sorted out in the first place? And right now it looks like it is a shame that it has continued from May 3rd onwards in such a manner, and there is lack of coordination between various security agencies and the forces as such. And now the state government, I mean its own police force, up in arms against the Assam Rifles over the pursuit of armed miscreants, so many guns in circulation. I think the mess is just continuing, and how on earth are we going to get them onto the peace table?
So today what's happening is we've got the United Naga Council's rallies. Security has been beefed up. Meanwhile, the ITLF leaders that are still in the national capital, yesterday they met with the IB. Today they might get a chance to meet
today
the
morning
Home
it said that they'll meet the Home Minister. Wednesday morning will be
right,
there will be
because Amit Shah is slated to speak in the Parliament today at about 5 p.m.
Okay.
In the Parliament. So maybe before that, the ITLF body, because they were supposed to meet on Monday, but that didn't happen. Monday
Then
evening
Tuesday,
they came.
yeah.
The Home Minister was still in the Parliament. Then again, the second day, Tuesday, the Home Minister must have been busy. So it makes sense that they met with the IB body. But today, they must have an appointment with
They
the
will
Home
be
Minister.
having an appointment.
So these
with
are
them is
a couple
what
of
we
key events that we're going to keep our focus on in terms of Manipur. Before we shift our focus to what's happened in the Parliament vis-a-vis Manipur, today the ITLF body meets with the Home Minister. Meanwhile, the Naga Council, they are taking out their rallies, which the Kuki bodies have backed and supported. Those are some developments.
So
and security has been tightened and beefed up in those places where the rallies are going to be carried out. Now shifting our focus to the ripple effect of Manipur in the Parliament. Yesterday, Gaurav Gogoi, he started, the speech, and it's written right here. People are talking about last minute change. Rahul out, Gogoi in. Rahul Gandhi, who got back his MP bungalow, did not open the debate. Gaurav Gogoi, who took his place, clashed with treasury benches over the change. And, it was quite a showdown like a scenario, because Gaurav Gogoi got up and he started speaking, and Prahlad Joshi, the parliamentarian,
he came out and he said that what happened in the last 5 minutes. I mean, the question over here, of course, we're a little bit diverting, but he asked that question: what happened in the last 5 minutes? We were all expecting Rahul Gandhi to speak on the floor of the House. Why is it that suddenly there has been a change? And then, there was some kind of
but importantly, Gaurav Gogoi sent in ahead of Rahul tweaked lineup sparks drama. So Prahlad Joshi says, why is Rahul Gandhi speaking? Why isn't Rahul Gandhi speaking? Why is Gaurav Gogoi speaking? We were all waiting for Rahul Gandhi to speak. And Nishikant Dubey also said late uthe honge. He must have gotten up a little late. That's why Rahul Gandhi missed his opportunity to speak.
He also went on and said
but Gaurav Gogoi opens his line by saying, this no confidence motion has been brought to the table because of Prime Minister's silence. Questioning the Prime Minister's silence, not just this time around in Manipur, questioning the Prime Minister's silence back during the the black farm laws and the protest around the farm laws, and the COVID deaths, and Manipur. So, hard-hitting facts that Gaurav Gogoi also presented.
Yeah,
and Manipur,
I've just taken one of the quotes that he had said. If Manipur is burning, then India is burning.
Then Bharat is burning.
If Manipur is divided, India is divided. I can understand why the Prime Minister is silent. He must admit his double-engine government has failed. That is what he's put out. Of course, you had a retort from Nishikant Dubey from the Treasury benches. SE has not acquitted him, that he was on Rahul Gandhi. It has given a stay order. He's still saying, I won't apologize. Why should he apologize? Modi is an OBC. Why should you apologize to OBCs? Now, that is one statement that had come from the Treasury benches against Rahul Gandhi, but not on Manipur. That is also quite interesting on the way that issue was.
This is what Saugata Roy said of the Trinamool Congress. He says, what was the Prime Minister doing from May to July when Manipur was burning? He visited 7 countries and he was very proud that Joe and Jill Biden gave a private dinner. Is our Prime Minister a roving ambassador or a travelling salesman? And T.R. Balu of the DMK speaking for the motion again, saying Vajpayee stood behind Raj Dharma, but today we cannot stand behind them when women were stripped and paraded naked. Supriya Sule, what happened in Manipur is shameful. I demand the Chief Minister should resign immediately. Ask your conscience how you can support this government.
Also, interestingly enough, there is one thing that has happened on this, is that when it came to yesterday, when the debate was in fact going on, there were so many, I got this in Hindustan Times. They have actually put out a lot of interesting topics. Government created 2 Manipur, says Congress MP Gogoi. They have expanded on his speech. And then destruction of human rights. Opposition attacks government on Manipur. This is from NCP MP Supriya Sule when she was addressing the parliament. And of course, Dubey sharpens attacks against Gandhi and opposition allies, saying that Dubey did in fact pick up on INDIA allies as well, one after the other, and completely changed the topic when it, though they were discussing about Manipur, and that was an issue that was there, but he had to change the topic from Rahul Gandhi's stay as well as on Savarkar. and he was in fact asking for why he's not apologizing, though the debate was on Manipur that the INDA was focusing on. Well, and as you were pointing out,
but
we have
Kiren
also
Rijiju as well, Kiren Rijiju as well, because you have to make sure that you're putting out opinions of both sides. If on one side you've got the likes of Gaurav Gogoi, Saugata Rai, Supriya Sule, T.R. Balu, all hitting.
See, T.R. Balu said that he knows everybody on the other side, but it doesn't mean that he cannot oppose and he cannot raise issues. And he said, why is the Prime Minister silent? Is what again the question that T.R. Balu from DMK in fact.
The opposition has quite literally slammed the Prime Minister's Monrath, but this is how the ruling dispensation defended the Prime Minister and spoke against the motion. Kiren Rijiju, you of course spoke about Nishikant Dubey. Kiren Rijiju here says, when our government was formed in the first cabinet meeting, Modi ji said every 15 days 5 cabinet ministers and 7 MOS must tour the northeast. Prime Minister Modi has also given directives to officials to visit northeast, and the northeast focus has been one of the Prime Minister's
focus is
in terms of developmental projects. I mean, of course, we can't go nitpicking. The Prime Minister has really thrown the right kind of light on northeast. Let's not forget. There is no meaning of ruling from Delhi. One can reach people through service. You never thought about this? This is the question that Kiren Rijiju has asked. And Pinaki Mishra of the BJD, I cannot understand why the Congress should cut their nose to spite their face. Ask the Prime Minister to come to the House and put them through the shredder. And I have no doubt he will when he replies on Thursday. So the Prime Minister replies on Thursday, doesn't he?
Well, he replies on Thursday, and I think all eyes will be on the Prime Minister's reply.
4 p.m. is when the Prime Minister is going to reply on Thursday. So, of course, all eyes on that. Meanwhile, Derek O'Brien has been suspended.
Yes.
Only to return.
But it is only turned out
That
to
is
be
about Chairman
inconclusive.
Jagdeep Dhankar announced the suspension of Trinamool Member of Parliament Derek O'Brien, only to allow him back as the motion to suspend did not fructify.
Yeah, I mean that happened quite. In Rajya Sabha, of course, the numbers are kind of very.
So that showdown that we saw yesterday, that is going to continue today. Today, the Home Minister is going to, of course, speak at 5 p.m. So all eyes are going to be on that as well, because in the day, all these arguments are going to keep on happening. Of course, Rahul Gandhi is also going to be there. People do want to listen now to what Rahul Gandhi has to say as well. Yesterday, it was quite weird to just look at him.
But Kabir, you know what, in that debate that happened, they said that Gogoi said that they said that it is not pertinent to reveal what happens in the Speaker's chair, because then we also will go ahead and speak about what the Prime Minister said at the Speaker's chamber. To which you had Home Minister Amit Shah, getting up angrily and saying, then reveal it. What is it that you have? It's it's a big allegation that you have said that the Prime Minister had said something inside the chambers.
You
tell me what is it? What is it that you are trying to say?
You're right.
Yeah. So that was a dramatic moment that happened in yesterday's debate as well, especially with the question of whether Rahul Gandhi is going to speak on it.
I'm looking here right on the top. It says ED summons Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren for questioning in an alleged land scam case. In the middle, he's thrown out a full frolic advertisement about Jharkhand's Adivasi Mahotsav. It is the World Tribal Day. I'm saying it again and again. And that's why the Naga Council is also holding those rallies, which the cookie bodies have in fact backed. Shifting our focus here, what is it that you want to throw light on next? Of course, the Gyanvapi survey is something that we can
What is happening on the Gyanvapi survey actually
but
at the
also
moment?
something that we must throw light on is also Haryana. Because Deputy Chief Minister has...
a lot is happening on the Haryana front, Kabir. In fact,
right. So, in Haryana, the Deputy Chief Minister has admitted that there are clear-cut lapses that were there in NU specifically. But what about these 50 panchayats that have now openly called out for an economical boycott of Muslim traders? Don't buy from them, don't sell them anything. How does that pan out?
See, that is a worrying trend, because you see when it comes to trading and other issues, communal tensions need not have in fact raised to that pitch. But the social boycott call is actually worrisome, because it only sharpens the polarization that we are seeing on the ground. And as you pointed out, Deputy CM Chautala admits to lapses in in Nu questions the government and organizers of it. The local administration in Haryana's Nu district and the organizers of a Hindu religious procession were unable to correctly assess the situation. State Deputy Chief Minister Dushyant Chautala said on Tuesday, saying that the administration lapses in the turn-up to the violent clashes in the district that killed 6 people and brought violence to the capital's doorstep were under investigation. Chautala, who on August 2nd blamed the organizers of the Bridge Mandal Yatra for not providing a correct estimate of number of people attending the event, also said that the government will take action against anyone found guilty of dismissed charges of communal bias. There was a lack of assessment not only by the administration but also part of the organizers who could not properly assess the entire episode properly.
Wait a minute, what was that communal bias line? The communal bias line?
It's written over here that correct estimate of number of people attending the event, also said that the government will take action against anyone found guilty and dismiss charges of communal bias. He said that there is no, there is no effort spared, like try to sparing one community and trying to favor the other.
Well,
he said that those,
looking at that bulldozer action take place, with their houses in rubble, this is the story of 3 elderly citizens who are sharing their ordeal of why they cannot leave Nu, even as their houses are now nothing but just rubble. Flanked by the Aravalis on one side and a barren field on the other, rubble is piled up on the spot where 5 houses stood not long back at the foothills of the mountain ranges in Nalhar in Nu. Khatuni, who's 60 years old, and her husband Ali Muhammad, 68 years old, go around salvaging articles from under the mountain of bricks and concrete as 3 charpoys line the yard, with only a plastic sheet supported by 2 sticks protecting their valuable goods. Their houses were among those demolished for alleged illegal construction a couple of days back, following the violence in Nu last Monday. Khatuni says she cooks her meals with whatever meager ingredients she could retrieve from her home that was among 2 houses built on a plot. While Khatuni and Ali lived with their family in one house, Ali's brother Deen Muhammad used to live with his family in the other. Now, only 3 people have stayed back. My 2 sons drive trucks and they are away. Their wives also left with their relatives, houses after the demolition. Now it is just me, Ali and his brother. This is a quote of Khatuni. She said they chose to stay at the site despite demolition because no one was ready to take them in. That's exactly what I'm asking about, talking about, the legal remedies of people who weren't necessarily involved in this illegal construction or the violence that took place over that.
Who's
BHP,
suffering? Who is suffering?
It's the poor.
It is poor who are suffering at the end of the day.
It's the poor man that suffers. So shouldn't the Haryana government step out? Shouldn't it go out of its way?
You saw the court's criticism, right? It was saying that was it ethnic cleansing on the part of the government?
Well, it seems like it. It looks like it. So, didn't you see those videos of people asking for your identification cards, whether what community
you read that story
to?
out also, that which community you belong to, so they had to show their identification card. Yes. The other thing is that also, Kabir, in Gurugram, 2 people have been booked for that Muslim boycott call. Okay, 2 days after thousands of villagers from across Gurugram gathered to attend a Mahapanchayat in Tigra village of Sector 57, 2 people were booked for speeches delivered at the event on Sunday. Gurugram police has said, officers said that the Mahapanchayat was held without valid permission and the speakers called for economic boycott of Muslims. The Mahapanchayat was organized in the wake of communal tensions.
So then how many arrests do you make? You've got 50 panchayats that are doing the same thing.
They are sending letters, but at the meantime there's another thing. Congress delegation not given permission to enter Nu. The Congress on Tuesday alleged that the party delegation comprising of senior leaders who were going to Nu to meet those affected by the communal violence on July 31st were stopped from entering the district. Now, another thing
These are those, visuals that we're looking at, the Congress delegation that was stopped from entering Nu.
Okay, we have those
something
visuals.
that they flagged off in the parliament as well.
Do we have anything that's come on the parliament on this?
50 panchayats in 3 Haryana districts issue letters barring entry of Muslim traders. Show cause notices to be sent. This is what the SDM has said. Plea in Supreme Court over hate speeches. So the hate crime, hate speeches.
The plea in SC is over hate speech at a rally in Hisar. The Supreme Court on Tuesday received an application seeking urgent intervention over hate speech made in August 2nd event in Haryana, where open call to boycott Muslims have made in aftermath of the recent communal violence in Nu district. So,
well, things are, it seems, are spiraling a little out of control of the government and are caught between the politics.
See, the Deputy CM, who is an ally of the current ruling party. He himself is saying that there are lapses, and he's saying that they will try to get things in place. But still, at least there is admitting to the fact that there were lapses.
But the positives here are, of course, that show cause notices are going to be sent to these, panchayats. This coming in from the SDM, and a plea in Supreme Court over the hate speech. That's of course always there. Just doing a little bit of justice to the person that's commented, in the comment section. The Assam Rifles was doing what they were what they have responsibility, being a middleman. They blocked the Methi miscreants and Methi police to enter tribal area. That's why Methi blaming Assam Rifles with different lies. And of course, the Kuki community and people of the Kuki community in the comment section have different things to say. But just reading out a little bit of comments here. We of course appreciate you getting down in the comment section and helping us out with your particular opinions, because it's important that we come out of this studio and listen to what you have to say as well. And you also, in the meantime, can do the same. It is a two-way street. So our eyes and ears are going to be focused on Haryana for sure. Anything to look forward towards when we're looking at what happened in Nu and in Haryana?
Well, the only thing is that at least the administration is in fact woken up, and there is some kind of action on the ground. The courts are also looking into it. So let's wait and watch. At least the situation has been brought under control immediately. That is the good silver lining that we see in this.
All right, very quickly, let's talk about the day 3 recap of Article 370, and at the same time, let's talk about what can be expected today. Yesterday, some of the bigger statements that also did go viral were when the Supreme Court said on 370, replying to Kapil Sibal, they said there is no question of a Brexit-like J&K referendum. Kapil Sibal says, and I'm quoting him, of course, unilateral executive decision cannot change. Unilateral executive decision cannot change the terms of a relationship that is constitutionally embedded in Article 370. Abrogation of Article 370 was a political decision. The opinion of J&K's people should have been sought. See what happened in Brexit. A referendum was held. This is what Kapil Sibal basically had to say.
For that, you have an argument from the CJI. He said you cannot envisage a Brexit-type referendum, but within a constitution like ours, there's no question of a referendum.
Yeah, in a constitutional democracy,
there is no question. Like he's saying, the
so
constitution
Kapil Sibal says
that.
Kapil Sibal, basically the argument here is that can the Parliament act as the Constituent Assembly? Can
it appropriate the Constituent Assemblies?
Can you bypass the Parliament?
Yeah,
can you bypass the Parliament? Can a Parliament, act as a Constituent Assembly? These are certain things. How did they act as a Constituent Assembly?
Yesterday I was listening to that
because
argument.
Of passing some executive acts
against 370. So I was coming to that point only because yesterday, interestingly enough, there was this argument saying that whether this Article 370 was permanent or not. And in that argument is what you rightly pointed out.
Right. And Kapil Sibal says that I argued about this on day 1 and day 2 that this is in fact not temporary. Article 370 was permanent, and after the J&K Constituent Assembly ceased to exist, that your ability to do away with Article 370 also died out. But there are several, of course, remedies that the Parliament has to, of course, amend. When you can amend the Constitution, why not make new laws? But Kapil Sibal says, how can you pass an executive act to decimate the will of the people? This is a political thing. If it's a political thing, then you ask the people of Jammu and Kashmir. That's what Kapil Sibal is saying. Of course, staying away from the fact that yes, economics, and there has been an economic boost in Kashmir. We've done, News 9 Plus has thrown out that documentary Showtime in Kashmir, where cinemas have reopened in Kashmir. There's a lot that the youth of Kashmir is now aspiring to do again. But abrogation of Article 370, how it becomes a precedent? Maybe tomorrow you'll cull out some different law and you'll pull down some different act that's already in place.
He also quoted Sheikh
the CGI says he quoted a lot of speech, and towards the end I'll tell you what, the CGI also got a little irritated. He's like, can you just give us the gist of the speech?
Because I was like listening to that. Yes, exactly.
Can you just give us the gist of the speech? Can you tell us the page number? I mean, I was listening to what Kapil Sibal also has to say. He says, document 1 of volume 3, page number 3, 4, 6, my lords, paragraph number. I mean, there's so much to peruse through.
I mean, there's a lot of documents that have been put forward also, and in that speech, I think that also caught the CGI's attention. He said that why didn't didn't the people of Jammu and Kashmir under Sheikh Abdullah during that time plan to, accede to Pakistan? So the Sheikh Abdullah gives an answer to this. He says that Pakistan is Muslim by name alone. It is actually a feudal country, while India, neighbor, is a democracy.
CGI also said that back then, Abdullah could think through of the economical benefits of
exactly.
the value of Jammu and Kashmir. And that is something that was taken into account even back in the day.
So Sheikh Abdullah says that you better not be part of a feudal system, and Pakistan today is suffering because of that feudal politics right now, though it has got semblance of a democracy. But
absolutely.
He said that India is the democracy, and that the future is more of, on the path of a scientific kind of an. So it's very advantageous to Jammu and Kashmir to be part of India. So Sheikh Abdullah actually thought through that.
Kapil Sibal also of the opinion that he had no other option but to accede to India, because the ruler had no other option. He had pressure from all sides, and India was certainly his best option. Sibal also raised the question of ex-CGI Gaurav Gogoi's basic structure remark. Do you know that? Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that portion.
Kapil Sibal told CGI, your colleague. So to which the CGI says, and I remember he says, if they are a presiding judge, then they are my colleague. Outside this courtroom, outside their tenure as a judge, they are just mere opinions, nothing set in stone.
So
this is what the CGI says.
So then the ex-CGIs, that's what we were arguing also, that it is a basic opinion that has been formed by CGI, the former CGI Gogoi, when he made that statement on the basic structure of the constitution. So interestingly enough, I think the CGI makes it clear that Gogoi's is an opinion, it's not the what the court
says. So day 4, we will throw across a rolling coverage from courtroom number 1, day 4 of the Supreme Court hearing on Article 370. Let's not forget, we're just learning that the Amarnath Yatra Varghese from Jammu to Srinagar has been suspended due to a landslide that is on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway. We're getting visuals of that. Let's quickly throw that up. This is what we're picking up, that, that
these are the checkposts
has been closed down.
For that. Okay.
It has been shut. This is because of a landslide on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway.
So it's going to take
you can see the blockage over there.
These are the checkposts are there. So it's going to take time for them to clear that pathway as such, and probably you'll see the Yatris camping a little far from that location until they get the go-ahead to say that the area has been cleared. I think it's going to be the Yatris will have some of their the entire pilgrimage delayed because of this landslide, so they'll have to wait it out at probably.
It does get a little bit treacherous because of the terrain, it seems.
The terrain, yes, of course.
And the extreme weather events this year haven't been so kind on the mountainous regions as well, be it Himachal, be it Uttarakhand, and this is right in the upper tranches of you're really high up. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I think we just wait and watch for this. It's in fact
that's the Pantha Chowk in Srinagar. You can see that activity is completely it's absolutely low. Some of the devotees that you can see are returning back. And did you see that? I mean,
most people will have to wait it out now because the yatra.
And they must wait it out. I understand
why they wait it out till they clear the landslide.
Have to really make a lot of plans to go to a pilgrimage like the Amarnath Yatra, but it's disappointing to see them turn back. But you will have to, in the face of Mother Nature and her fury, you don't really take the other step. All right, one more important thing that's going to happen today, Varghese, is the second lunar orbit maneuver that's going to take place between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. That's right, right there on the big screen. We've got the Chandrayaan, India's moon mission. We're nearing, Varghese, we're almost
circular
there.
Orbit.
Almost there
Trying to reach
become
the
the fourth
orbit.
nation on this planet to successfully soft land on the moon. The onboard propulsion system functioning fine. This coming in from the ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. And interestingly, there was a tweet that was put out by the dedicated page of LMV3.
You've been following that page quite often, right? You try to get all the tweets out from it, and they have been actually giving out a good, update on what is happening with the Chandrayaan. Till now, it is on an elliptical orbit. The idea is to achieve the circular orbit around the moon. So till then, we are going to see these orbit maneuvers that are going to take place, and fantastic pictures coming in from that lunar mission.
And that's exactly what I was talking about, because Oh, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. Just a second. Yeah, there you go. You have the dedicated page now teasing people as well.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's showing, it's throwing pictures. Hey Earthlings, I'm in the lunar orbit at ISRO. Could you please allow me to post some more pictures so that I can make them feel jealous? That's the picture that they've put out as well. These are little, pictures that they're throwing up. Now I'm going to ask the control room to throw up the picture of, the lunar orbit as well.
When you say control room, we're speaking about another control.
Down control to control room. Can you throw up the picture of, the moon and the orbit around the moon so that the viewers can really understand, it is on the tweet that they have put out. See, take a look at that. Hey Earthlings, I'm in the lunar orbit. Could you please allow me to post some pictures so that I can make you feel jealous? That's coming in from Chadrayaan. So 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. the second lunar orbit maneuver is going to take place. We're going to get even more closer to the lunar surface. Varghese, what's happening in your mind?
Well, I'm just waiting for all that to happen. They are planning to move to 100-kilometer circle or orbit. After that, we wait till 28th of August, and then that soft landing that we hope to achieve. And once that is done, I think it is going to be a huge, feather in the cap for ISRO. They have learned from their previous mistakes with Chadrayaan-2 as well. And I think Chadrayaan-2 did teach a lot when it comes to the lunar probe. And I think well, we go to the moon first, and probably next to Mars again with our rover, and probably even closer to Venus. I mean, the infinite possibilities for ISRO.
We'll send you to Pluto, don't worry. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Please, ladies and gentlemen, you can log on to the Indian Space Research Organization's website to get a day-to-day, perspective of a minute-by-minute perspective, rather, of what's really happening. Let's shift our focus here, Varghese. There's a resolution in Kerala Assembly against the UCC, but that can wait a little bit, because I really want to talk about the Gyanvapi survey, some of the key findings. The Muslim litigants are, Allahabad High Court has asked, put the Muslim litigants' plea on hold. They were trying to put a stay on the survey again, and of course, how about you tell the viewers about what exactly has happened so far? In the meantime, I perused through the Hindi newspapers to get some mirch masala on what's happening in Gyanvapi.
What has happened right now is that the survey has continued. Both the courts have given the go-ahead for the survey. And right now, the Muslim litigants had threatened in the meanwhile to, not to cooperate with the survey if details are being leaked one after the other. And, the question is that there have been reports coming in that there was a dome-like structure that they found, fragments of idols were found. So it has not yet been completely put in a report by the ASI and submitted to the court. So they are saying that this selective leaking of information, or the misinformation, or whatever, how you describe it, is worrisome, and they want that to be curtailed to a large extent. But they want the ASI to carry on with their work. In fact, there's the second phase of a survey that is in fact going ahead with radar imaging of that place, and they are it's a non-invasive survey, basically to say nothing is going to be cracked open to find out this or that. It is to keep the structure intact and to sense it through whatever technology is there in place, like radars, to find out what exactly could be the structure could be there. So the ASI is doing that with a lot of scientific effort to find out what exactly the original structure could have been there. But again, the question here is, Kabir, after that what? Once you have the report, what?
Question is just one. Mandir ya masjid? Mandir ya masjid? A lot of people saying that, the question is one. The question is, of course, of the fact that, once you have the survey findings, what are you going to do? And if there is even the slightest of hints that, there are some artifacts, what, I mean, because the survey is still going on, we shouldn't even be talking about this, because that's exactly what the Muslim side doesn't want. It doesn't want any rumor mongering to go about. But you know exactly what's going to happen if there is going to be a full push to break down the Gyanvapi mosque and build
the government will be under
a temple over there.
See, the government of the day is going to be under a lot of pressure on this.
I'm just going to throw these pictures for the viewers, where you can see that the survey is taking place on the outskirts as well, not just on the inside. It says Gyanvapi Parisar ke bahari hisse mein naap jokh karti ASI की टीम, पीछे काशी विश्वनाथ मंदिर दिखाई दे रहा. Take a look at this, and you can see the ASI members right on the top of if the camera person can zoom in just a little bit more, there you go. You can see that, you know, there are ASI members right on the terrace, on the rooftop. They're taking a look at the outskirts also. There's proper mapping, scanning that's happening. And you can see the Kashi Vishwanath in gold right behind the Gyanvapi mosque's, you know, big tomb on the top. So that's happening in Varanasi. Paschim Gumbad ki inchi tape se napti ki gayi. There was inch tape used. Minar se jude jarokhe की mapping की गई. So on the minar you've got those you know, little architectural designs right on the bottom. That was happening. पश्चिमी गुंबद की इंची टेप से नपती, नींव से कंगूरों तक नाप खोज चल रही. ASI की टीम भी आज पहुंचेगी. IIT की टीम भी आज पहुंचेगी. ASI के साथ साथ IIT की टीम भी आज वहां पर पहुंचेगी. So you'll have the IIT team that's going to now enter the Gyanvapi survey. So what does that signify, Bilkis, essentially?
No, it's actually
ज्ञानवापी परिसर के बाहरी हिस्से में सर्वे, तहखाने में डटी रही टीम, नींव से कंगूरों तक नाप जोख चल रही. IIT की टीम भी आज पहुंचेगी ASI के साथ.
So, I mean, this is all part of the survey process, and especially I was saying it's a scientific survey that they are carrying out.
Right.
There's a lot of measurements that they have to be taking, and they should have to find out if there's a structure, not a structure, if it is, you know, on the ground and things like that. So those are the aspects that they are being. So they are all different teams trying to manage or give scientific data on what is there. And that is what the court has in fact asked for. You remember the videography survey happened, this thing that was just a simple survey of, you know, just taking the videos and just putting it out. But here what they are looking is a scientific survey, and the details of which would be submitted to the court. Now for me, Kabir, I said the survey is fine, but that information that you're going to get after that, and once it's given to the court, what are you going to do with it?
Well, Varghese, is there any news about what's going to happen with that survey?
Well, it is going to continue as it is, and we are going to in fact see more people coming in. Making
Varghese, I'm being told that we're at a paucity of time. I'm going to have to interject over here and quickly talk about Hemant Soren as well, because Hemant Soren, he's under the ED lens. Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, it's not something that's new, right? Hemant Soren, his father as well, the chieftain of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. And Hemant Soren, earlier, you know, there was a project, Operation Lotus, that was that Hemant Soren feared was being carried out on the JMM MLA. So he took all of them and shifted them to Raipur in 2022. After that, not really a case on, you know, he wasn't in the limelight for the ED summons on Hemant Soren. But now it seems like fresh summons for Hemant Soren in a PMLA case. Do you think it's going to be?
You know, the case is about this. The BJP had alleged Soren was involved in defense land scam in connivance with corrupt bureaucrats of the state. That is the case that is being sent, and the proceeds of that money is what they have fired the PMLA on. So he has been asked to depose on August 14th at the federal agency's office and record his statement under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. He is expected to be questioned in an alleged defense land scam. The 47-year-old Jharkhand Mukti Morcha leader was interrogated for over 9 hours by ED in November last year, and another money laundering case linked to alleged illegal mining in the state. So this is a land scam case that we are looking at, and at the same time there was another case that is already over illegal land mining, and there an IS officer was also in fact picked up.
Sometimes, Varghese, I'm appalled at the you know, at the politics of in our country. You've got
appalled?
Appalled. It says ED summons Soren for questioning in land scam, and right on the next page is an advertisement by you know, Hemant Soren, where he is talking about the Jharkhand Adivasi you know, Mahotsav. I mean, just to take a look at that. I don't know if whether to be sad, whether to laugh about it, but I don't understand. I mean, where is the credibility factor here? You've got Enforcement Directorate summons for Soren, and of course the opposition has been saying that, you know, that this ED and CBI is being used on the opposition leaders. But I mean, this is what's happening. You've got the ED summons for Soren on the left side of the page, and on the right side of the page is a full-blown advertisement, you know, by Hemant Soren. Take a look at this. This is the advertisement by Hemant Soren, and a full blown, and it is World Tribal Day. So I understand where the advertisement's coming from,
but there is
the
also news,
credibility factor.
There is also news, and this first of all, the economics of this, the economics of this, probably it is the only product in the world that is sold below its cost price. So please understand.
All right, shifting our focus here very quickly. We have now onions and their prices are constantly soaring. Azadpur Mandi, Rahul Gandhi did put out that video, and more than the fact that it was an image makeover and people were talking about that, the actual perils of the people did come out as well. A crate of tomatoes costing in upwards of 4,000 rupees, a crate of tomatoes. So if the person is unable to sell that crate of tomatoes, he is essentially sleeping hungry. He's going empty stomach to bed. And now you've got onions and their prices that are now also going to soar.
See, Kabir, three things that are staple of Indian cooking in large parts of this country. One is onions, one is tomatoes, and then you have potatoes. Without these three basic ingredients, we don't have a large number of dishes in this country. So,
Indian cuisine, it's renowned for its palate and the kind of taste it brings.
Yes,
but that's not the point.
The basic
on an economical note,
so this is something that is first, the pinch is
it's a household item.
It's a household item. So the first pinch of this is going to be felt by the poor. Then it will, now it's risen to the lower middle class, the middle class, and the upper middle class is also going to feel this pinch. So this is going to be a huge pinch. Now if onions and tomatoes together soar, then it is really bad news for the government. So I think they have to have some kind of intervention. Remember once when onions were, prices were hitting the roof, they actually imported onions from across the world. From even far away Turkey, they had got those onions in. So I think right now, there is some kind of person who would actually take cognizance of it, that they won't let tomatoes as well as onions soar at the same time, because that is not good news.
Well, with tomatoes already soaring above the 200 rupee mark, way above the 200 rupee mark. I'm reading here, a Hindustan Times copy. It says, people in the onion trade say this year's winter crop, which caters to 70% of the annual demand, wasn't robust compared to previous year. During crisis years, India resorts to onion imports, but the country didn't import any in 2021, in 2022, and in 2022-2023 as well. Onion prices have stayed reasonable over the past 4 months. The month of August and September are usually a lean season. The next onion harvest will take place in October. Modal retail prices have remained stable at 25 rupees a kilogram according to official data. Modal price is, however, only a kind of an average.
So basically, when it comes to the mandi, you'll come to know. Today I'm going to the mandi, I'll tell you tomorrow what is.
Alright, so tomorrow Varghese lets us know exactly
what is the price of
on the onion front.
front.
That's all the time we have for you. Before we go, something that just caught my eye, and I think we should at least talk about it, at least put it in the psyche of people. Convicts don't deserve remission. This is what Bilkis has told the Supreme Court. No remorse. Bilkis Bano tells Supreme Court the decision to remit sentences of accused was taken without considering the nature of the offence, and they do not deserve it as they are not at all remorseful. We saw how they all came out, and there were laddus that were given to them, and we're talking about a person who saw her family being killed in front of her, her being raped. The monstrosity that was,
But at least the Supreme Court is going back to, in fact, look into it. Before we, in fact, wind up, Kabir, just 1 minute. Malayalam actor, a director, Siddiq, passed away at the age of 60, and he is renowned for a lot of films associated with it, and that is one thing that we have to look at also. Just before we wind up, just bringing those visuals of him.
So how about
the movie Bodyguard was actually directed.
How about we put out the director? How about we put out a 2-minute, 3-minute piece on the director during the day?
Sure, we'll put it a separate piece.
A separate
entity.
Put it out on that. Of course, let's put that out. About what kind of movies that have been copied, by these directors' movies, and it seems like Malayalam cinema also they carry their hearts on their sleeves. So. Even with the Karnataka,
actors, I've grown up seeing his movies. I mean, from comedy genre to on, with a lot of comedy genres. But I've grown up seeing his movies, and it's actually sad. Part of your childhood is also going when director Siddiq passes away.
well, I feel sad for you. And may Siddique's soul rest in peace. That's all the time we have for you. We will bring you rolling coverage from the day 4 of the Supreme Court's hearing on Article 370. Gyanvapi survey is something that our focus is going to be on. We're going to keep our ears and eyes on the ground when it comes to the developments vis-a-vis the new violence, and Parliament is going to be our top focus. Later on in the evening, we're bringing you the real point, the top debate of the day, and under global lens, the top international story as well. That's all the time we have for you. This is Kabir Naqvi and Varghese P. Abraham signing off.
China won't let us rest easy on our borders, but they will keep flooding our markets. What does Xi Jinping really want?
I think he wants the Indian market, no doubt about it.
It's really a matter of showing their dominance.
India's great Chinese conundrum.
Nobody can contain it. Not the United States, not China, not anybody else.
Frenemies. Streaming now.